please stand for the opening prayer and pledge.
Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this Hancock County Commission to order this 8th day of September 2016 at 2:30-ish. Roll call.
Mr. President, all commissioners are here.
Therefore, we have a quorum. Item 2, thank you, George. Item 2, approval of minutes, approval of commission meeting minutes for August 18th, 2016.
So move to approve.
Any comments, corrections, additions? If none, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, government agency presentations. A, Rosemary Guida, Executive Director, Northern Panhandle Workforce Investment Board.
So you usually have Chris Smith presenting this report. She had another appointment today, so I'm filling in for her today. If you look in your packets, the first report is our rapid response report. And if you recall, rapid response are services we provide to companies that close or have layoffs. Fortunately, in Hancock County, we did not have any layoffs, major layoffs last year. This report is for the program year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016. So that's a good thing. It did pick up significantly, though, in the Northern Panhandle because of the coal miners being laid off. And that is still occurring. And we found out today they ran out of training dollars, and Department of Labor is reviewing the option of maybe giving them additional money, not only in West Virginia but in Ohio and PA as well. If they don't get the coal miner training dollars, then they can tap into our funding sources that we have available for them. Last program year, the next 3 pages shows you all the schools that we provided funds to. Once again, Allstate Belmont Technical College, that's truck driver training. And we funded more truck drivers than anybody else last program year, and that's been steady like that for the past 6 years. Fortunately, there are a lot of jobs in the truck driving industry. As soon as these individuals go through the training, they are placed. We have a 88% placement rate for truck driver training.
Whoa.
However, we are going to work on trying to get more people into STEM type training programs this year. We're working with the local community college in particular. We find that people that come in that want training, they want short-term training. They're not seeing the benefit of long-term training. They've just been laid off. They have families to support, kids in college. The truck driver training school is only 6 weeks. And then once they get out of that, they make, on average, $50,000 a year, and they like that short-term, quick fix. So we're trying to work with the school to get some accelerated training programs in STEM fields for people to go into this year, and definitely for program year 2017. That's our goal. So the next page, those are our program budgets for our year that started July 1. We got an increase. We were a little surprised by that because we took a 20% decrease 3 years ago and have had subsequent decreases. This year, though, we are getting an increase of almost $340,000. So, of course, that's a good thing. We never seem to get enough dislocated worker funds because of all the displacements in the Northern Panhandle, but the law does allow us to transfer adult funds into dislocated worker funds, and that's what we do We've done that for the past 11 years to serve our laid-off workers. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. The next report is our summer youth program activity report. Unfortunately, we only had one site in Hancock County serve as a work site on the summer youth program, and that was the Weirton Housing Authority. And you can see the breakout per county from Hancock down to Tyler. We had 2 kids. We have an issue up in Hancock County in that we typically have more kids than work sites. So I think some of that problem, we were looking at this a couple weeks ago, it might be because of the supervision issue. And we will pay for supervision, but you have to take at least 8 kids. We're thinking next summer maybe decreasing that to 4 or 5, and then we'll pay for the supervisor for that small group of kids, and maybe more work sites would participate. What do you think? Do you think that might be a good idea?
I think that would certainly help out.
You
That
think-
seems to be our problem.
Okay. Because we do have kids up here that want to work to get money for school, not just high school, but for college, because this program now, we can take kids up to 24 now, but we can't get work sites to participate. And I do think it is, the supervision is a big issue, because we pay all the wages, and but we don't pay for supervision if it's under 8 kids. But we're going to change that and hope that we get more participation up here next year. Any questions on the summer youth program? Okay. And so the last report, that's how many people, we broke it out for you, adults, youth, and dislocated workers, and then the total participated from Hancock County. You'll see all the counties listed. But so we had 10 kids in the year-long youth program. We had 4 summer youth program. The ITA program, that's where we pay for older kids, 18 to 24, to go back to school for 4 years, or for 2 years, I'm sorry. So we had 3 there. And then the total numbers for the youth were 17 out of 203 for the county. So, and then the adults, ITAs, again, that's the training voucher program, we had 19 adults participate. And then for the dislocated worker, we had 17 again from Hancock County. So we do have funds available. We do not have a waiting list because of all the additional funds that we got. So we are able to serve everybody that requests training or placement. So if anybody knows anybody, especially older youth, this is a great program. If a family, has limited funds, and we can help those older kids, 18 to 24, pay for their first 2 years of college. And it's $4,750 a year. We'll give them support service. We'll pay for any equipment or uniforms, anything they need while they're in training. So if you know anybody, send them our way, okay?
Right.
Okay. Any questions?
I have a question. I got a comment. You talk about post-secondary education. The big catchword now is nano, as in small, and we're looking at nano degrees. As they're getting, why it's even taking the place of associate's degrees. Why even go 2 years or 4 years or 8 years, whatever? These nanos, certifications and nano degrees, 16 months or so. But it's job specific. You're not going to get that broad education, but it's job specific, and it seems to be catching on.
To piggyback off of what you just said, we're under a new funding law. It's called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It replaced the Workforce Investment Act that started back in 2000. That law ended 2015, and now we're transitioning into the new WIOA, which is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And a big part of the law is concentrated on more of the short-term nano training that you're talking about, more certificate type training, and more apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship type training, which is what we'll be getting into. So we are working with the schools, in particular the community college and some other schools, to get some of those programs in place for people where they're not interested in the associate or the 4-year degree. So,
And
Okay.
I commend you for the job well done. I actually serve on the NPW board, workforce board, and we meet in Warwood, and you always welcome us. You've got a good board to put together, and it amazes me the deep interest in the youth that's there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sad for Hancock County too that we just don't have that participation level. And of course our population is less than Ohio, but I commend you for what you do for these kids.
We're going to try
And-
harder next year, though. We're going to increase those numbers for you next year when I come back. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ruth.
Bye-bye.
Item 4, we have no old business. Correspondence, Robert Pennington, Deputy State Highway Engineer, West Virginia DOH, Statewide Transportation Improvement Program 2016-21. Listing of proposed amendments is available for public review and comment. We'll have copies in the office upon request. Paige will have them. I'll accept the motion to make that a matter of record.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New business, County Commission. Approval of release of trust deed for the following individual as a 5-year lien has lapsed. Stephen F. McDonald.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's my fault. I remind everyone to please turn off all cellulars, including mine. New business, County Commission 2, approval to appoint William Blinn to the Hancock County Park and Recreation Board. Just a footnote, there is another opening.
Move to approve Mr. Blinn, who currently is the only applicant to serve on that board. And like
Correct.
Mr. Schwartzmiller said, there's still one more opening.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3, approval to appoint individuals to the Oakland PSD.
I believe we had 2 applicants. Mr. President, I move that we reappoint Dawn Hildebrand as the representative to the Oakland PSD.
Okay. We have a motion. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Item 4, approval to appoint an individual to the Hancock County Health Board. We have several applicants here.
Mr. President, if I could, we did have about 5 applicants apply. I would like to, some of these individuals I don't know, and I think it would be nice to have an interview process and talk to the folks and find out what their concerns are and how they'd like to go about helping the health department. Would it be fair to have Paige set up, contact these individuals and ask them if they'd like to participate in an interview we meet next Thursday?
Correct.
Call them in next Thursday and see if they'd be able to come in for an interview, just a very quick interview. And then we can make our appointment after, make the decision after the next meeting, sometime after the next meeting.
Is that a motion?
Motion is to call the individuals in and have a quick interview with each one of them.
Discussion on the motion to interview?
we'll have to get together and have if we're going to interview, since this is the first time we've had a few requests for the position, a basic questionnaire that each individual has the right to do.
We're going to get Mr. Vitus to put together just some quick generic questions for us, if you don't mind, Bob.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5, approval of the July 16th annual shelter report.
Move to approve.
Discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. County Clerk. 1, requesting approval of the appointments of Joanne Kessel and Stephanie Weebles as emergency absentee ballot commissioners for the November 8th, 2016 general election.
Move to approve.
We have a motion.
Question?
Question?
Yeah. Exactly what is that for, Mr. Ford?
That's anyone who is either in a hospital or a facility.
Gotcha. We've discussed this previously. Then, yeah, they'll take them the ballots. Okay.
At a time limit will be from 6:30 in the morning till noon, and 35 mile limitation.
And these are two good people.
I know one's good. I know about
One of them, just one of them's good. Okay.
I'm not saying which one.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to be prejudiced. I'm going to say you've got two good people on there to do this duty
They're the
for us.
best, believe me.
Further discussion. Quit clowning around, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. In case you don't know, Stephanie's in the room.
I'm sure she'll pick the 18 to 24 range.
C, Office of Technology and Communications, requesting approval to apply for the 2016 HS. I skipped one. Exectrix. I even had an X through that because I have a hard time pronouncing it. That's why I skipped it. Requesting approval on behalf of the Exectrix Council for the hearing scheduled on October 6, 2016, to be dismissed.
One council filed a motion to dismiss. Counsel for the other side has not responded since the hearing is not until the 6th. I would suggest that we find the position of the other council, whether or not this is a joint petition or simply an adversarial motion, and then make a ruling at the next meeting, or you could wait till even the 6th to decide whether or not the matter should be dismissed. I would suggest you table it.
I make a motion that we table this request until both attorneys respond, and we'll leave that up to you as to when you feel comfortable.
That's fine.
Discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is tabled. Now moving on. C1, requesting approval to apply for the 2016 HSGP grant.
Move to approve.
Discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Chairman, any comments or anything?
Excuse me. This is built upon our grant from last year, the radios that we got. It's phase 2, basically. So, we broke it up into phases: portable radios, mobile radios. This allows us to apply for mobile radios.
Thank you.
Further comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2, requesting approval to apply for the 2015 EMPG grant.
Move to approve.
Discussion? Comment?
Same thing, Jeremy?
Sort of. This is a 50% reimbursement on parts of our budget for emergency management.
Any dollars you can get. we don't get them, somebody else will.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Six, finance, probates and estates.
Have been reviewed and are recommended for approval.
Move to approve?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Exoneration orders. There's a good
Move to approve.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General county bills.
General county bills were $61,657.42. P-card payments were $47,607.09.
Move to pay the bills.
Discussion, questions, concerns, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Fire allocation bills and requisitions.
They were okay to pay.
Move to approve?
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Library levy, funds, bills, requisitions.
They were also okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion, questions, debate? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Shelter workshop levy fund, bills and requisitions.
Okay to pay also.
Move to approve?
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizen remarks. Item A. Person A, I'm sorry, not item. Carrie McIntyre, Secretary, Hancock County Animal Shelter. Yes. Foundation.
Carrie McIntyre, CARIMCINTYRE, Secretary for Hancock County Animal Shelter Foundation. I'm not here to discuss the Foundation's involvement with the shelter, but rather to encourage citizens to take a closer look at those who are making the decisions that affect this county. At the last meeting, Mr. Barnaby stated that we are not the bad guys. You are not the bad guys. So maybe we need to take a look at what constitutes a bad guy. There have been several contradictory statements made by the Commission since the takeover, and it leads me to wonder if some statements aren't made just to save yourself in the public eye. The original statement on the day of the takeover about the less than 3% euthanasia rate, which was very well publicized on the news, I have to wonder if when you made that statement you even understood what it entails to make that happen. However, you're now backpedaling, stating that killing animals is an acceptable form of population control. So I have to ask, who's the bad guy? You gave excuses to the public for not granting the contract to the Foundation, citing a lawsuit that did not address the contract and saying we had not bid on time, when actually there was documentation of our extension request. So again, I ask, who's the bad guy? Recent statements at meetings regarding the levy funds that you're stating cannot be transferred out of the general fund, when in fact your levy clause specifically states the amount in excess of said approximate sum shall be transferred to the general fund of said county for expenditure by said county for recreational purposes. Your statements are kind of misleading, to say the least. In response to the questions presented by the Foundation in the last letter I had submitted, how many complaints have been received on the shelter in the past? Are those documented? Were they presented to the Foundation board? If so, when were they presented and what was the outcome? Did you have contact with board members regarding complaints or concerns? If so, who and when? And if these concerns remain unaddressed, was there follow-up? And your reply: numerous complaints were received, and the Foundation should be well aware of this fact. At least some of them were brought to the Foundation's attention in writing or discussed with the board directly. Those discussions are now in the past, and the county will not rehash them. No note of documentation, when they were received, or what was the outcome. The other question I presented, other than the meeting that occurred in February of this year and one meeting that you attended in January 2015, did you attend any other meetings of the Foundation or make requests for meetings that went unanswered? Your reply: Bob Vitus and predecessors, as representatives of the Commission, had conversations, requests for information, and at least informal meetings with Foundation staff. But you're not the bad guy. You stated that the meeting was canceled at the last minute for the contract negotiations to continue. However, our attorney had a prepared statement per your request, but you canceled that meeting, not us. You state you have a community cat room at the shelter and something that you believe in, but yet when I've been out there and asked employees, the cats don't run free except when the cages are being cleaned. Again, I ask, is this misleading? I've outreached your employees trying to obtain information on the animals as far as numbers, encouraging you to be transparent, eliminate some of the concerns, lessen animosity, and I
20
received
seconds.
no reply. You have done what you wanted, and the citizens citing nothing to justify your reasons. And you could do this to any organization in this county. So I encourage the public to consider what exactly constitutes a bad guy.
Thank you. Marianne Zoomer Reese, citizen.
My name is Marianne Zoomer Reese. It's M-A-R-Y, capital A-N-N-Z-U-M-E-R-R-E-E-S-E. Much of what I have to present was in my letter to the editor this past Sunday, if you had gotten to see that. You think you've won, but in the long run and in the big picture, you've hurt yourselves. You make statements and promises to save face, but in reality, you're losing trust with the people. The people of Hancock County continue to be perplexed with the motives of the commissioners in ousting the foundation, because there have been no substantiated allegations. Their 20-year record with a 3% low kill management, high adoption rate, and efficiency of spay and neuter clinics is commendable. The commissioners contend to be able to maintain the same high standards, yet have no experience in animal welfare over an animal shelter. That's like going into any other person's job and saying, oh, yeah, I can take it over. That's not true. You don't have the knowledge of the resources, nor the sincerity, love, and compassion and dedication for the lives of these animals. And where are your settings for your spay and neuter clinics? You have no set fees for adoptions. How do you intend to raise money? Is the public aware that the foundation raised over $1.5 million to help sustain the shelter? They got the first levy ever passed for the animal shelter in this county for $150,000. Donated $100,000 of their own monies towards the building cost of $280,000, leaving only $30,000 for the county to pay. They paid $40,000 in the sewage treatment plant and $200,000 for a dog run so the dogs could get exercise and be safely protected. I really don't see the three of you commissioners organizing and facilitating fundraisers to acquire these kind of totals. Why would the commissioners eliminate an organization that has been so successful and diligent in their goals? Are the three of you truly driven to achieve this kind of level of accomplishment? You contend to be able to find staff with the same willingness, but that would really be a pretty grand achievement, and again, takes years to reestablish, and you're not giving the foundation credit for that, to have that kind of competence and drive. Why are you trying to fix something that's not broken? How many residents realize the commissioners decided to cut the yearly budget in half from $175,000 to $88,000? Where did that money go?
30 seconds.
County, and with the county wages have gone up, and the people of this county voted for that levy. You know, like you said, you're not the bad guy, but where's this money going to come from? You know, the commissioners questioned the foundations about the waiting list for the foundation, but they don't recognize the fact that they did offer a voluntary waiting list. You have no documentation of forwarding complaints to the foundation and contend to have received. What have they done that's so severe that you had to suddenly...
Thank you, Mrs. Reese. Time is up. Tina Fensky. Tina.
Can't hear out there in the hallway.
Hi, yeah.
Sorry about that. My name is Tina Fensky, T-Y-N-A, F as in Frank, E-N-S-K-E. I'm just here as a citizen of this county. I have no affiliation whatsoever with the foundation. I was unable to make it to the last meeting, but I did want to address Joe Barnaby's comments that you had at the end of the last meeting, where you made some dramatic statements stating that the commission does not receive $1 from any of the excess levies. You guys all agreed that that was true. You went on to say you guys are not the bad guys here. I'm not saying you're bad guys, you're good guys. However, as per the ballot, you do receive excess monies over and above $100,000. The previous ballot up until this year stated that any excess monies was to go into your general fund towards recreation. This year, the ballot stated instead of going to the foundation, it was going directly to the shelter, and it just said to the general fund. It said nothing about recreation. As per your own documents here, you had received $110,211.19, of which on your bottom line down here, $10,141.71 went back into your general fund. Right on your own documents. So whether it went into the recreation, when it went into something else, you do receive monies from these excess levies, being the animal shelter, the library, and the sheltered workshop levies. I don't know whether you did not understand the documents that were presented to you, or whether you're intentionally misleading the general public when you're trying to state these things to make yourself not look like bad guys. But I guarantee you, the voters did not expect these kind of outcomes, whether it be from taking the monies or from taking over the foundation itself. Again, gentlemen, we end up having to question what your true motives are behind your actions here, especially when you're misleading the public with your statements. However, since I still have a little bit of extra time, I do want to address some emails that were presented between Mr. Vitus and Paige Dalrymple. I did tell you at the last time I spoke that I did go up and visit and tour the facility. I told you that the place was clean. The employees there, that everybody that was working there was very friendly. I thought everything went very fine. I mean, I was nice. They were nice. I saw you up there, Joe. I read the email that Paige Dalrymple sends stating that I was filming the employees up there. I want everybody to understand I was filming nothing. I was taking notes on my phone regarding the number of animals that were there on the facility so that when I spoke, I was going to speak correctly and not put out wrong numbers.
30 seconds.
But I was not filming anybody. I had no malice. I had nothing other than to tour it and take a look at the place. Still trying to get my husband to get that female mastiff up there that wasn't able to be adopted yet because she had Lyme disease. Still working on that one. But Mr. Vitus's response, if I can get this out in the next few seconds here, was in the email that, I quote, "They did not have to let Fensky pass the front door." That would be like saying that I can't walk past the front door of the courthouse or any of the public libraries. It's a public facility. Anybody can go in and tour it. And I wasn't touring it just for that. I was actually looking at some animals. I didn't appreciate the negative tone that was put out with Mr. Vitus or anybody else regarding that. Again, we have to question what the motives are here.
Thank you. Rudy Rosnick, citizen.
Earlier today, ethics complaints were filed against Commissioner Joe Barnaby, Commissioner Jeff Davis, Commissioner Mike Swartzmiller, and County Administrator Bob Vitus with the West Virginia Ethics Commission. The complaint is about the hiring practice used to fill positions at the Hancock County Animal Shelter on or about July 1. County officials, with the full knowledge of the commissioners, made phone calls to individuals offering them county taxpayer-funded jobs at the animal shelter. 1 full-time employee and 7 part-time employees were hired effective July 1. However, information received from a Freedom of Information request indicates the county did not post any ad making the residents of Hancock County aware of the available jobs at the shelters. The commissioners did not even authorize the hiring of the jobs at the shelter until July 7th. They then backdated the hiring to an effective date of July 1. Is this even legal to backdate hiring of an employee? The commission chose to just have their employees contact friends and offer them jobs. This is not a hiring practice the commission should be proud of, yet alone support. Regarding hiring, Mr. Vitus states in an email dated August the 2nd, ask Nicole if she has anyone else in mind. With Hancock County having an 8.5% unemployment rate, the commissioners should be allowing every citizen an opportunity to obtain a job to support their families, not having county employees call friends or people sympathetic to a certain political position and offer them a taxpayer-funded job. They had just eliminated 14 foundation jobs at that shelter. It should be noted that the 7 new part-time employees were hired at a 20% salary increase compared to what was being paid for the same position when the foundation was operating the animal shelter. Is this operating the shelter better than the foundation? Is this proper management of the county taxpayer revenue by the commissioners? The commissioners have repeatedly reminded us that this, again, oversight of the tax revenue is a major responsibility of their position as a commissioner. When my wife and I visited the animal shelter in mid-July, one of the new employees was so proud of how they were contacted several times by a county employee being offered their job. At first I thought it was just someone proud of how badly the county wanted them to be an employee. This employee practice is certainly not what is expected by the taxpayers of Hancock County. In fact, one asked the question if this employee practice is ethical or even legal.
30 seconds.
The commissioners created a crisis at the shelter by not working with the foundation to renew their 20-year shelter operation contract. The citizens of Hancock County need to be aware of how the county is being managed by the current commission. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Fred Miller, citizen.
Thank you, Commissioners. Fred Miller, F-R-E-D-M-I-L-L-E-R, resident of Gas Valley Road, and as I previously stated, we are the most immediate neighbors to the Hancock County Animal Shelter. At your last meeting, you admitted into correspondence a letter from the PETA organization expressing support for the Commission's actions in taking over the animal shelter. The writer of the letter, who is an official of PETA, said that the reasons for expressing support were that no-kill and low-kill shelters across the country are causing animals to be turned away. Similar experience to what we've seen here in Hancock County. And PETA's website states that 6 to 8 million animals come through shelters every year, but only about 4 million are ever adopted. PETA's stance is that the no-kill policies, the euthanasia philosophy that the shelters follow, causes the shelters to lost my train of thought here. To adopt the waiting lists. And when they put people on waiting lists, they're essentially turning them away at the door because people come in with a stray animal that may not be their own, and they're told they're going to be put on a waiting list, and they usually don't stay. Now, I've heard some speakers from the foundation say that there was only one documented case of a person being put on a waiting list. I've also heard people from the foundation say that there are waiting lists used by every shelter in this region. So, and I know personally of in our family a number of times we've taken animals down there and been told we'd be put on waiting lists. I stopped at the recycling center recently and talked to the gentleman there, and I didn't offer this, but he recognized me and said that he agreed with what I'd written in the letter to the editor. And he said that there was a stray cat that was dropped off, and he tried to take it down to the shelter, and they wanted to put him on a waiting list. So, thank you. So the reasons cited in the PETA letter are pretty much what I've said. What the commissioners have offered is that the no-kill, low-kill policy actually ends up causing more distress to animals and animals to be disposed of in a less humane way than by consider euthanasia for overcrowding conditions. Thank you.
Bob Vitus, citizen.
Yeah, my name is Bob Vitus, B-O-B-V-I-D-A-S. I simply just want to say this is the fourth meeting since the commission has taken over the shelter, or fifth. We've had four, and today is the fifth. In those 5 meetings, there have been 27 people stand, or multiple people, for a total of 27 times, to stand and talk in favor of the foundation or asking the commission why they took over the animal shelter. Just like to thank all 27 of those speeches for showing the people in this county that this is not about the animals. Never once has any one of those people that should have lists offered to give us help as far as fundraisers, low-cost spay and neuters, or vets, or adoption places, or rescues. No one has offered to help the commission. Everything has been about the foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it, right? Good of the order. Mr. Barnaby has brought his school board jargon with him, and we've changed the terminology around a little bit to be more updated. So this is the part of the meeting that we will go around, and elected officials or department heads will opportunity to make a comment. So, Counselor, you have anything today?
A little bit. As Bob Vitus mentioned, this is the 5th meeting since Hancock County resumed control of its animal shelter. At each meeting, these 3 commissioners have allowed the foundation and its supporters to speak, even though it is not required. Most of the comments from the foundation and its supporters of the last 2 months consist of insinuations and accusations of greed, pride, and even the secret, undocumented euthanization of animals. Despite the ridiculousness of these statements, these 3 commissioners allow people to have their say. A supporter of the foundation at a prior meeting described these commission meetings as a, quote, court of public opinion. Of course, that is not what they are at all. These meetings are actually for legitimate county business. They are not a show or theater, but maybe the foundation thinks they are. That supporter also raised the point that, quote, perception is reality. So one has to ask, with all the allegations and insinuations, does the foundation have anything legitimate to say, or is it all the creation of perception? Is the foundation trying to fool the people of Hancock County? Take this example. At the Hancock County Commission on Thursday, August 18th, Carrie McIntyre claimed to have completed her own independent investigation into the practices of Hancock County's animal shelter. Based upon her visit to the shelter and a head count of the animals she claims she saw, Ms. McIntyre seems to suggest that Hancock County is lying about its euthanasia numbers. She seems to claim that the county is euthanizing more animals than it stated in its meeting report of August 4th. That reported sum was a grand total of 3. By the way, all 3 animals were euthanized due to significant illness or traumatic injury. All 3 were examined by a veterinarian. All 3 were suffering with pain and would have low quality of life. Instead of being encouraged with the low kill number of 3, Carrie McIntyre appears to be upset with that number. Is this because the numbers proved false the perception suggested by the foundation that Hancock County just wants to save money and doesn't care about the animals? If so, those numbers based in reality, would look bad for that perception. And for some people, when reality conflicts with perception, reality must bend. I guess Carrie McIntyre chose to ignore the reality of Hancock County's actions in adoption, foster, and rescue, as well as the reality that some animals are kept in a separate room for medical treatment and away from general population. If Carrie McIntyre believed her own insinuations, one would think that she would do a lot more than show up at a commission meeting to complain. At this point, about 5 weeks have passed since Carrie McIntyre performed her investigation. But when Carrie McIntyre and the rest of the foundation has not done is more telling. The supposed animal advocates have not filed any complaint with county law enforcement. A phone call to the West Virginia Board of Veterinary Medicine shows that absolutely no one has contacted them to complain about secret euthanizations at the county shelter. Both the circuit clerk's office and the magistrate clerk's office verified that no legal actions have been filed to stop the supposed secret euthanizations. Why are Carrie McIntyre and the foundation waiting so long to save the animals, or at least bring them justice? If Carrie McIntyre believes her own story, and if she truly cares about the animals, why can't she or any other member of the foundation bring themselves to do more than come to a commission meeting and tell a story? It seems clear that no matter how hard Hancock County works to put forth the actual facts, the foundation and its supporters are going to oppose them. The foundation and its supporters can live in their own perception, but they cannot rightfully demand the rest of Hancock County to join them. We really hope you're not trying to fool the people of Hancock County.
Thank you. Sheriff?
Sheriff has nothing today. Just share.
To share. Oh, eyes are bad. Carol, anything today?
Yes, we are getting ready to start clubs again this fall with 4-H. In West Virginia, 4-H continues to be free to join. We also continue to provide project books without cost to our participants. And we're very happy to be able to continue to do that through WVU. A couple of points here. We have partnered recently with the Workforce Career Center. We have a young woman with us about 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. She's a wonderful addition at no cost to the county, helping us doing some general office work, and we're also trying to help her in terms of building the skills and gaining the resources that she needs to meet her goals. Really have been absolutely delighted to have her with us. Recently, we had spoken with Mr. Vitus many times at length at the need to have a little bit of extra storage space should it come available, and told him we were doing everything we could to purge. And after doing that, and with the work of Laura Greathouse, she secured for us an in-kind storage space for our Energy Express program materials, which has greatly alleviated our storage issue and made our offices a lot more pleasant to use. Speaking of grants and going after dollars that will go somewhere else, I did recently write a grant to the Lowe's Charitable Foundation to do some work out at our Camp Aura facility. We have a project out there that we have raised about, and I've done the numbers now, about almost 65% of the funding needed to complete the projects out at that facility. And we have asked Lowe's now for some help with all materials to be able to complete this project. So hopefully within the next 90 days, I will have a good report that says we're going to be funded, or as my program assistant says, I will continue to blind beg and cry until we get the money we needed to complete the project.
Thank you. Who else is back there? Looks like the health department's here today. Dawn, anything?
Just a couple of things that are going on at the health department right now. September is National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. The health department is offering PSA testing at the blood draw for $20, regardless of income. It is recommended that any male over the age of 50 have this testing done. Doesn't matter what kind of income you have. There's no insurance billables. It's cash check, PayPal, whatever. Also, we do have a limited amount of shingle shots still available. Those are $30. Again, the only stipulations there, 60 years of age and a West Virginia resident. Not necessarily a Hancock County resident, just a resident of West Virginia. Flu shots are also $30, straight cash check money. One other thing that we are working on right now is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are getting ready for our Breast Cancer Awareness Walk. It will be held October 8th. That's a Saturday morning. Registration starts at 9. The walk is at 10. Last year was our first one, and it was quite a nice success. We're hoping for even a bigger amount of people to walk. You can pre-register. The T-shirts are $10. Otherwise, the walk is free, so we just encourage you to come out and walk with us.
Thank you. It's a lot of information.
We're working hard.
OEM's in the back there. 911.
We're good.
Mr. Vitus with a different hat on.
Although neither one of them said it, I'd like to give both Tracy and Jeremy some credit for the operation of the building and all the work that they've been doing toward the grants. Tracy especially towards keeping the 911 dispatcher staffed at this point in time. We have, we're back to just missing one. We spent some time with 3 off sick, so it was sort of hard with summer vacations to keep it staffed. I think they've done a great job doing that.
Good. Ms. Brenda?
I have nothing to share today. Thank you.
George?
I have nothing.
Sure, the roll call with us. That's the most you've said.
All right.
Yeah. New job. Commissioner Barnaby.
Make it quick, because I know you don't want to add a tape. The first thing, hope nobody minds the little adjustment in some of the agenda items, the way we wrote it up. Had an opportunity to sit here with Mike one day for a few hours and go over a few things. Nothing major, just a little different design, a little more organization maybe. The other thing is, this pertains to the courthouse and the department heads, with the exception of you guys. The cold vending machine downstairs is going to be removed. Okay, they have been taking about $9 a week, and their loss is usually exceeding what they're putting in there. That's equating to, like she said, maybe 4 sandwiches a week, and it's not worth the loss for them. So they will remove that cold machine, sandwich machine, whatever, but they will continue to stock the chip machine, the goodies, and the beverage machine. So if you could pass it on to your departments, that was a decision we made. That's all I have.
Commissioner?
George, question for you. Early voting.
Okay.
When does it begin?
Early voting begins October 26th through November 5th.
Okay.
And the hours can be Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. And Saturday, 9 to 5.
What was it?
October
26th.
to November 5th.
November 5th will be the last day.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Saturday when?
Saturday, well, it starts the 26th, sure. And it ends November the 5th.
Yeah, the Saturday hours, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Saturday hours would be 9 to 5.
Going to require security for that.
Yes, we did it last time.
I require a letter from your office.
We'll get that letter out. And then we'll need you election night also. I'll get that letter out.
Thank you.
Also, I believe we have to recess and come back in tomorrow at 8 o'clock to approve the precinct. Okay. Just familiarize me. Why do we have to come back in tomorrow? Is there a certain time period, date period?
I believe it was the time period. It was a change of precincts, you know, from the shelter workshop.
I'm aware of that.
It's by code.
By code.
By code, it must be tomorrow. In other words, we could not recess today and come back at 5. Okay. Tomorrow's the date. Okay, very good. I have nothing else today.
So, although we are going to recess and not adjourn till tomorrow at 8 o'clock, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Still, I wanted to remind everyone that the next commission meeting, we will be back on schedule. We got off schedule because of conflicts. So the next regular commission meeting will be next Thursday, the 15th. Okay. It's the 1st and 3rd, so next week's the 3rd. The 1st was because of a conflict. So next Thursday is the commission meeting at 2:30. With that, I'll accept a motion. I have nothing else. With that, I'll accept the motion to recess until tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
So move.